Pardon of Sheriff Joe is a sign for Special Counsel Robert Mueller and his investigation on whether the Trump campaign colluded with Russia. Could the president, down the line, pardon anyone who could be indicted? Our legal panel is here. David Bruno, Robert Schalk, both the defense attorneys and former prosecutors. Robert, let me start with you. You think is it possibly a precursor?
Yes.
For if anyone in the Russian investigation gets indicted, charged, whatever?
Yes, and remember, it has to be charged or indicted federally. It can't be state. It has to be a federal prosecution for the pardon to take place. And obviously, there's backlash that Sheriff Joe was a staunch reporter of President Trump's, campaigned with him, etc. And think about it. He pardoned him before he was even sentenced. His sentencing isn't scheduled till October, and he was only convicted of a misdemeanor. He wasn't even convicted of a felony. So you're talking about if he's willing to do it before someone's even sentenced on such a lower level charge, I have no doubt that there would be discussions of potential pardons down the road.
Can the president, does he have the power to pardon someone, even before they're indicted?
Yes, you can do it as long as the crime has been committed. They can be pardoned. But there doesn't have to be formal charges brought. The crime must have been committed. It's not for future conduct.
All right, David, do you think we'll see more?
Yeah, I do. But, there has been a lot of criticism of this decision lately. And the fact is, it's his absolute power to pardon under the clemency clause of the Constitution. And to really be critical of this, you really need to look back at the prior president's decisions. Because President Obama, he pardoned more people than any other president in history, almost 2,000.
And some of his pardons have been controversial. Chelsea Manning,
sure,
who some consider, a traitor. For example, Bill Clinton, Mark Rich, Denise Rich had given hundreds of thousands of dollars. The Democratic effort, and the President Clinton always said there was no connection to that. But that did raise questions. Not only that, the FALN. A terrorist issue.
Yeah, Susan McDougal, I think, is the most questionable in my mind. It was under the Clinton administration.
But let's stick with this president now.
Yeah.
And let me read to you two prominent Democrats. Adam Schiff, of course, who's the chief investigator in the House. He says this: Arpaio action was appalling and political. It also sends a message to witnesses in Russia investigation to keep quiet and stay loyal and get pardoned. But another prominent Democrat, Senator Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut, has an opposite view. He says any witness counting on a Russia investigation pardon should think again. Trump's loyalty is limited. Witnesses can still be compelled to testify, and the pardons apply only to federal crimes. What if there's a state investigation?
Yeah, on that point, there can be a state investigation even if there's a pardon. That means that the Fifth Amendment right to remain silent still exists. So somebody pardoned federally could still go into a grand jury and say, I'm invoking my right to remain silent because of the potential state charges.
Into a federal grand jury, you mean?
Correct. If you go into a grand jury and you could be prosecuted in some other jurisdiction, state, federal, or other state, you could still say that you have constitutional rights to remain silent.
So a federal pardon could help you in the state court?
Sure. Either way, if you're pardoned in the federal court and you have some criminal exposure, you should be invoking your Fifth Amendment right, irrespective of a federal pardon.
How do you think this will play out, Robert? Because you also have the situation where it's been reported that he asked Jeff Sessions, the Attorney General, in the spring, maybe to try and drop the case against Sheriff Joe.
Well, the thing about it is if you read the federal code, it's a 5-year wait for normal defendants to be able to petition the federal government to seek a pardon. This was done before he was even sentenced. 5 years after
the president has that power.
He has the absolute power. This is just the optics of it and the timing of it are so very strange. He had an appeal based upon the trial that was done, because it was done via a bench trial, Sheriff Joe did, that's still pending, that they were seeking to take to higher court. He hadn't even been sentenced yet. He had so much more time to let this thing play out.
And for anybody in the Mueller investigation right now, let's say they're not even close to being indicted, if there is any at all, this is a message?
I think this is a message, but I think, again, let it play itself out. Nothing has come down with regards to the investigation. Let there be a decision made. And he always, as you pointed out, it's an absolute right that can be done at any given time.
David,
sure.
You think it'll happen?
I agree. Right now, this is a conspiracy theory, and we have differing opinions. And until something actually comes up, someone's charged, I think that's when we should start talking about this pardon with respect to Russia.
Well, he has shown that he has the power to do that, and the President of the United States, certainly does. Robert and David, thank you.
Thanks. Pleasure.
Well, much more ahead on Tropical Storm Harvey's devastation.